Welcome back everyone to Most Amazing Top 10, back with another scary video for you. This one is all about hotels. I imagine that when you guys go to sleep at night you feel quite safe being in your own home, in your own bed. It's a familiar surrounding. What about hotels though? Do you still feel the same, always? Most of the time there's absolutely nothing to worry about, but then you hear stories like these and it kind of makes you think twice. Let's see what you make of the top 10 scary hotel stories. Coming at number 10 now, we have the Shadow Men. This one comes from Reddit user Mithrin. He said he used to work in his aunt and uncle's hotel in a Scottish village. One night while sleeping in the staff quarters, he was woken up from a loud banging noise in the corridor. He angrily got up, ready to tell people to shut up so he'd get back to sleep, but the corridor was empty. He walked to the end of the corridor to see if there was anything coming up the stairs from below, and that's when he saw it. He said a figure was stomping up the stairs. He said it looked like a shadow person, but solid. There were no features on the face or clothes on its body. It looked like someone wearing a black morph suit if you could see right through them. He ran back to his room terrified and could hear the banging for hours. The next morning, nobody else in the hotel said they heard anything, and he kept the secret of the Shadow Man to himself. Moving on to number 9 now, we have children's clothes. This one comes from Reddit user Loco Mojo. They said that one night when they were working in a hotel, a man came down to the lobby area and began wandering around. He was acting very strange. He was talking to himself as he sat down at a breakfast table before standing up and switching chairs around the table every few minutes. When they asked if he needed help, he would just jerk a little bit and mumble that he didn't need anything. After a few hours of this, he went back to his room and then returned to say he had turned the heater on, which had left him short of breath, and he needed an ambulance. Then the fire alarms went off. When the fire crew came back down from the room, they kept asking if the man was alone. They said, yes, he came here alone, he's staying there alone. After the fire crew left, they went to go and look in the man's room. The sight shocked them. He had rearranged all of the furniture, put the TV in the bathroom, and had put his trash can in the middle of the room on the bed and had set it on fire. Perhaps the most disturbing thing of all was that even though he said he was alone, there were small children's clothes spread all over the room. Coming at number 8 now, we have the elevator. This is a short but scary one that I think everyone can appreciate. It comes from Reddit user The Dino Man Show. They said that one night they visited a hotel and needed to use the elevator. They got in, they went up to the 4th floor, and the doors opened. There stood a group of people waiting for the elevator, but they made no attempt to get in, even though he was the only one in there. After a few seconds, the automatic doors closed, and just before they closed, when there was only a slight crack left, he heard one of the people outside say, "Why is the lift so full of people?" That's the point where I would just start mashing the open doors button. At number 7 now, we have the woman in grey. This one comes from Reddit user Army of Wombles. He said that he once worked as a waiter in an old hotel in Scotland. They were expecting special guests, 2 old women who were friends of the owner, although as a fairly new waiter himself, he hadn't met them yet. Another waiter mentioned they had arrived and told him to go and put some wine in their room as they were being helped out of the car. So he picked a bottle up, he opened it, he got 2 glasses and a tray and went over to the room. On the way, he heard some shuffling. He'd been told the stories about how the place was haunted by the ghost of a woman in grey who had hung herself. Then, as he turned the corner, right in front of him, he saw a woman in very old-fashioned clothes walking away from him with no head. What? Now it turns out that it was actually one of the 2 old women who was arriving as a guest. She had osteoporosis, which caused her head to be below her shoulders. Still a terrifying sight nonetheless. Coming at number 6 now, we have the footprints. This one is really mysterious. It comes from Reddit user Fluxy Wild. They said they were working in a motel when they were about 17 or 18. They were at the front desk but was asked by the housekeeping guy to come up and check something out in one of the rooms that was being cleaned. He got up there to see the housekeeping guy standing in the middle of the room just pointing at the ceiling. There was a set of bare footprints on the ceiling which was at least 10 feet high. Not a shoe print, a bare footprint. It was only in the middle of the ceiling too. They figured there was no way someone could just jump 10 feet upside down. There was also a single bullet left on the bed. What's going on with that story? Do we even want to know? Moving on to number 5 now, we have the cold bathroom. This one comes from Reddit user Scumbag760. Nice name. He used to work in security at a hotel in California. Every night he got a sheet showing which rooms were empty that night. It was his job to go through all the rooms and make sure the lights were off and the windows were secure. One night he went into a room and found all of the lights were on. He began to turn them off. After turning the bathroom light off, he noticed the room was freezing cold. He reached into the bathroom to turn the thermostat thermostat up when suddenly the door slammed. He ran out of the room and tried to close the door behind him, but the deadbolt pushed itself out of the lock and slammed into the door frame. When he came back, the door was shut. He moved it around to see if it would close, but it wouldn't. He even tried slamming the door himself, but it was too light to even shut because it caught a lot of air. He said that was the last night he ever went into that room. At number 4 now we have the dragging. This one comes from Reddit user Blue Pig. He was staying in a hotel one night while traveling for work. It was one that he had used quite a lot before. Nothing strange had ever really happened. One day he crashed into bed exhausted and tried to get some sleep as he had to be up quite early in the morning. He couldn't seem to sleep though. There was just this noise, a constant shuffling sound coming from above. It sounded like someone was dragging a table or a chair across the floor, almost as if they were rearranging furniture. This continued almost constantly for 2 hours. He called the front desk to complain. They sent someone to the room above to check, but there was nobody there. The room was totally empty. When he tried to get back to sleep a little while later, the noise just started again. How creepy is that? Anyone got a good theory? Coming at number 3 now, we have the partier. This one comes from Reddit where a guy said he used to work front desk at a Marriott hotel. One night during the winter season, the whole hotel was booked out by a high school who were going on ski trips to nearby resorts. It was party central, apparently, total chaos. He said people would ride furniture down the water slide, punch holes in the wall to connect their rooms, and cut open their mattresses to hide drugs and alcohol. One night a male student overdosed and was found in the hallway. He was unconscious on the floor when the paramedics arrived. He had no pulse and had to be defibrillated back to life. He was taken to the hospital for a few hours but was somehow allowed to leave and return to the party where he shouted, "Who's ready for shots?" and then just continued to party. He literally died and then returned to a hotel party. Next up at number 2 now, we have the clone. This is a very creepy one. It comes from Reddit user Infinity Girl. She told a story about her friends that she refers to as E and M. I'm going to call them Ellen and Mary for this story. Ellen was her college roommate who worked as the night manager for a newly built hotel. She brought Ellen coffee one night like normal, but found her sitting at the front desk shaking her head in confusion. Ellen said she had just checked in what she could only describe as the doppelganger of their other roommate, Mary. Ellen said she was exactly like Mary and that she tried to show her a picture of Mary on her phone, but this woman wasn't even interested. They put it down to coincidence and just sat and drank their coffee. At 2:30 a.m. she pulled into a garage and looked at her phone to see a series of texts from Ellen to her and Mary at 2:17 saying, "Stop, not funny, you guys suck, and what the hell?" She was confused and so she called her back. Ellen sounded hysterical on the phone and said that she saw her and Mary wearing the exact same clothes as earlier, standing in the main hallway of the hotel just staring at her. Ellen told them to stop joking around. The front desk phone rang and by the time she had turned to answer it, they had gone. Ellen eventually calmed down and said she didn't tell her the freakiest part of the story. When she got home that night, the kitchen clock was stuck at 2:17 a.m. and right next to it was a picture of her and Mary smiling that she had developed earlier that afternoon. Can you explain these creepy clones? Perhaps it's a glitch in the Matrix? Perhaps we will never know. And finally, number 1 now, we have room number 8. This one comes from Reddit user Vicerine. She said that before she was born, her parents decided to move out to the coast and open a nice hotel. Before they opened for guests, her mum and dad decided to clean all of the rooms. One day her mum was in room number 8 by herself doing some vacuuming when the whole carpet just started rippling, shall we say. And I don't just mean colours or patterns. Her mum said the entire carpet rippled in a constant fluid wave type motion, lifting all of the furniture and herself up and down off the floor for about 10 seconds. Her dad came running in when he heard the screams. Her mum said they were selling before the place even opened, but her dad managed to convince her otherwise. She refused to ever step into room 8 ever again though. Well, I have to say I really loved a few of those. They honestly scared me, and that's coming from a person who does a lot of these videos. Which one was your favourite? Would you like a part 2, or shall we do some scary stories about some other things in life? Let me know. Thank you for watching as always guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.